Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to another episode of Men on Fire here on Soul Mechanic TV and Soul Mechanic Radio. Today is January 4th, 2021. We made it. We made it to 2021. Sometimes I had doubts if we were going to make it out of 2020, honestly, but we did. We're all here in 2021 in January. I know things aren't still the best out there, but we'll talk about that in a minute. I wanted to mention something to you. I'm thinking and toying with changing the name of the podcast from Men on Fire to You're the One. And I'll tell you why. First of all, I have a book entitled You're the One, which has actually two books out. And the third book in the trilogy will be released this fall. And there's not only that I wanted to link together, but most of my audience is women. So I don't know if you women out there are telling your guys to listen to it and they just don't say much. But I initially kind of started the show to communicate with men because I know they have a lot of issues with communication, really, and also with dealing things that they suppress inside them all the time. So I thought I'd kind of target men, but it looks like my audience is primarily women anyway. So let me know if you're watching this on YouTube. Let me know in the comments what you think about the name change from Men on Fire to You're the One. And if not, and you're just listening to this by audio, you can always reach me at mike@mikearen.com by email and let me know what you think. So let's get back to the first show and a discussion about COVID-19, of course, which is still the big thing in the news other than what's going on in the United States. But we won't talk about that. Now, COVID-19, like I said, we made it here, 2021. And it's horrendous what it's caused people, irreparable pain and harm and death beyond what we have experienced on a global front ever, certainly in our lives. So it's huge, right? But there were some positives that have come out of this. One of them is that maybe some of you are listening to this podcast now, and I use that as an example because many people are going online for different things. I mean, the ordering for Christmas online was nuts. I mean, many people like doubled or tripled. It was ridiculous. And I think many of that, even once the pandemic slows down to a crawl and is finally over with, many people will continue to do the things that they were doing during the pandemic, ordering more online, ordering from Skip the Dishes or whatever your favorite delivery service is, staying home more often for certain things. And yeah, I can't wait to travel too. I'm waiting for, and I have a trip booked, for Panama this April, and I'm hoping that still goes. But my wife and I love to travel at least a couple times a year, and we haven't been able to do that. So it has cramped our style a little bit that way. Luckily, we're all healthy and happy. So there are some positives from COVID-19, and I think even go moving forward with education, we're going to see changes in how classes are conducted that will have lasting effect. I think, a lot of things were going online anyway, but this probably accelerated it 5 to 10 years, depending on what genre or vocation you're talking about. So there are some positives. We're headed that way anyway. This has sped it up. I mean, if you want to start an online business, you can do that from home with no bricks and mortar store or no inventory or anything like that. Think of it. You can be your own CEO, and I'm not saying it's easy, but I am saying it is possible. Where years past, you just couldn't do that and just start those sorts of things. So you can think about that too. Those are positives. I want to stay positive on this, and I want to ask you, what are you going to do this year? Have you given it any thought? Scratch that. What are you going to do today or tomorrow? That soon. And I know, people make New Year's resolutions, and I made them, but I never really thought of them as hard and fast. So last year, it wasn't a resolution. It was just a decision that I decided to go vegan and also to give up alcohol, which I did both of those things. Now, I didn't put a limit on any of it, or worry about myself cheating, if you will. I know I can count the number of beer I had on one hand, number of glasses of wine I had on one hand all year. And I know I had 2 glasses of rum. So, I did have a social drink here and there. But I'm going to continue that this year because I found it helpful. I found a lot of health benefits. My mind is clearer. And I don't like waking up feeling the way I used to wake up. So it's all been great for me. So I'm going to continue that this year. It wasn't a resolution, it was a decision. So you could maybe make a decision of your own. So what are you going to do? Give it some thought. Anything is possible. I mean, just think back to the first people that flew, the first flight. I mean, arguably attributed to Orville and Wilbur Wright in the early 1900s, so just over 100 years ago, 110 years ago or so. The people at that time, they never thought they would be able to fly. What, you nuts? That birds do that, right? But then it happened. 1960. Think of 1960 when it was announced at the end of the decade or before the decade is out, we're going to land on the moon, put a man on the moon. And in 1969, it happened. Nobody thought that was possible, especially in that short time period, but they did it. And think of something very common, for example. Think of the fax machine. I mean, in mid-90s, I started a little side business from home, and I bought myself a little fax machine. Now, faxes had already been out in the popular culture and with businesses for a while. But you could just think, let's say when they were really popular and starting to get acceptance in the 80s, and somebody's seeing it for the first time, right? So you're buying a house, and then you see the forms go through for somebody else to get on the other side, sign, and send them back to you. And you're going like, how is this possible? Are you teleporting it through space? Like, it was inconceivable to many people to even think that you could do that, to make something print way over there, thousands of miles away, even another continent. You put it in a machine and it prints over there. How, it's inconceivable. But yet it was happening. And those are just 3 real short examples of anything is possible if you decide to do it. And with just one bold change, the impossible can become reality. So, are you ready for this year, 2021? What's holding you back from your success? I say there's nothing holding you back. In fact, I'm going to give you a little formula for success right now. And it's really, really simple. It involves 4 things. It goes like this: desire, planning, effort, and perseverance. Desire to do something, some planning to start it, the effort put in to get it going, and perseverance to keep it going. Simple. Now, the question here is not, will this formula work? Because it's been proven time in, time out. It's a time-proven formula that so many people have used to do everything from building businesses to leading a better life, the simple life. But the variable here is you. So it's not will the formula work, but will the person work the formula, right? That's the unknown variable and the challenge that really confronts us all. So the formula again is desire, planning, effort, and perseverance. It's all you need to accomplish anything. And there are so many possibilities to accomplish things right before your eyes. And on that note, I thought I'd go with some quick ways, 7 quick ways to improve your life in 2021. So you ready? So here we go. The number 1 way to improve your life in 2021 is face your fears. Now, you can't conquer your fears unless you face them. don't just dismiss them, face them. Say to yourself, here's what I'm afraid of. I wonder what I could do to change that. I wonder what I could do to change that. This is what I'm afraid of. I wonder what I could do to change that. And then you can implement that formula I just gave you. And don't just dismiss fears. I mean, we all have them. And you can overcome them by facing them. But if you never face them, you'll always have them. They will always hold you back. So number 2 is use your willpower. And I know people say, I haven't got the willpower to do that. I haven't got the willpower to lose weight. I haven't got the willpower to get up early in the morning to read or meditate or whatever the case is. I just haven't got that. But you don't have to keep doing what you've been doing for the last 5 years if it's not bringing you any benefits, right? It makes no sense. Think about it. If you've done something for 5 years now, what it's become is just a behavior that's become habitual. So it's a habit. That's all it is. So you have habits, which we all do, by the way, and some are constructive and some are destructive. So if you've tried something for 5 years, for God's sakes, and it's not working for you, it's not going to change this year in 2021 either. So why don't you try a new direction? Pick a new destination and try that. You can always pivot. If you go out, strike yourself out on a different direction and it doesn't quite start to work out, well, then you just move, turn a little bit right or left. At least you're moving. Nothing can happen when you're standing or sitting still, but everything can happen when you're moving. When you're moving in another direction, you might see, oh, this is not really what I thought it was going to be, but look at this over here. I like that. So now you've got another destination. So you have to keep moving and don't become sitting still. This will give you the will to keep trying, which is what you need as part of the effort and perseverance part of that success formula, right? You can become the captain of your own ship and exercise your willpower to change your direction. So number 3 on the list of 7 ways to improve your life in 2021 is admit your mistakes. So sometimes we have to admit our mistakes. That's right. We all make mistakes. None of us are perfect. You could imagine how boring life would be if we were. Everything was perfectly fine all the time. But we make mistakes. We're human. And that's such a beautiful thing that we actually make them, because we learn from our mistakes. We rarely learn when all we do is become perfect or win. If you win all the time, you never learn. When you lose, you learn how to win, right? So it's the same old thing. You fall down, you get back up. There's our effort and perseverance part of that formula. It's such a big part. You have to have desire. You have to have planning. But boy, that last 2, the effort and perseverance, is the things where the magic happens, right? So, it's so dull if we were all perfect. But one of the best phrases in the English language, I believe, is "I'm sorry." And you need to learn to adopt that into your vocabulary. "I'm sorry," along with "I don't know," are the 2 biggest phrases in the English language. It can help you so much and get you out of so many jams and allow you to learn so much more by using just those 2 phrases. And those 2 words could start you into a whole new relationship, into a new and totally different direction. The most important person, though, that you need to say sorry to is yourself. Admit your mistakes to yourself. Sit down and say to yourself, there's no use to kidding myself anymore. Here's where I really am. and take stock of your situation. Don't kid yourself anymore. Why are you fooling around with that? Just admit it. This is where I really am in this time right now. I've done everything I can from where I am with what I have. So what can I do now? Right? Here's where I really am. When you not acknowledge where you really are in life, that allows you to start again. Okay, let's move on to number 4. Believe in yourself. You've got to believe in the possibilities that are around you. There isn't a skill you can't learn, a discipline you can't try, not a class you can't take, or a book you can't read. They're all out there. All you got to do is look on the internet, really. Google is your friend, or whatever search engine you decide to use. You are the most creative and creating machine in the entire universe. Believe in yourself and take hold of life's infinite possibilities, because they truly are infinite. Number 5 on the 7 ways to improve your life in 2021 is conserve your time. And this is a big one too, because time in this earthly realm is infinite. Time doesn't exist in the realm of the absolute. We've made it up here as a construct for us to, in our minds, to decide how long we've been here. All those, it's just a man-made thing is what time actually is. And we're not going to get into that discussion. We can save that for a later time. But you all know that time is of the essence and life is really short, right? But sometimes we fake ourselves out into believe that we have more time than we do. For example, I'm 58 years old and I could say to myself, I've got 20 years of productive time left. And that sounds great. 20 years sounds like a long time. But if I look at it in this sense, let's say I enjoy going fishing, but I only go once a year, really. So if I look at it then, I will only go fishing 20 more times. That's not a lot, is it? That means every time I go, I have to savor that moment, because then I only have 19 left, then 18, 17, and so on. But if I say I have 20 years, I got a ton of time. So we fake ourselves out in that regard, that we've got more time than we do, and we don't have so much. So stop sitting on the couch or sitting on your hands or in indecision. I'm afraid to try this. Give it a try. The worst you can do is it not work out for you. And, I can use the word failure here, but I don't believe in failure, because you can never truly fail. You can only learn and grow. Nothing is a failure. And people have to fail. You ask anybody who's been in business for any length of time, and they will talk to you about the times that didn't work out, that they quote unquote failed. But they're still there because they kept going. Effort, perseverance, right? So, number 6 then on the 7 ways to improve your life in 2021 is live with intensity. Live a little bit stronger, a little bit longer, work a little harder. And I don't mean just, get on a treadmill and run a little faster. I've been all through that, right? That doesn't work. But as we discussed, life is so short. So you might as well turn it up a notch or two, right? Reach over that dial and turn up that flame a little bit brighter, so it's just a little bit hotter, right? So you can be a little stronger, be a little wiser, step up your vitality, your zest for life. That's not too hard, just a little bit more. And we've all been lagging in that department in 2020 with the COVID-19 pandemic. That's for sure. I can guarantee you've all been lagging a little bit with those things. Now's the time to bring it forth. Do the things you're supposed to do, the protocols, get vaccinated. Let's start living life with a little bit more zest. Put everything you've got into everything you do, and then Ask for more strength, more vigor, more heart, and more soul. Okay, we're ready now for number 7 on the 7 ways to improve your life in 2021. And that is to demand integrity from yourself. Integrity is such a huge word and encompasses so much. And I try to live my life with total integrity. I don't always do it because I'm not perfect. I sometimes fall off in that regard, but I catch myself, and that's the key. You can make mistakes. You can, you'll have that extra drink. You can eat that extra cheeseburger once in a while, but you got to catch yourself and say, no, that is destructive behavior. I have to get back on track. And don't punish yourself. It's okay in the grand scheme of things. Just get back on track. That's what you have to do. Persevere. So integrity is one of the qualities that everyone looks for in other people, right? But we rarely have it ourselves. There's a story. I was at a real estate conference a number of years ago, and the lady on stage was giving us an example of integrity, and she had asked the crowd to, how many people here think they have integrity? Well, everybody's hand went up, right? And then a gentleman in the front row, she asked another question. I can't remember exactly what that question was, and pretty much everyone put their hand up again. But she pointed him out and said, "Yeah, you come on up here," and asked his name and that sort of thing. Got discussing things with him, and she asked him, "Do you think you have integrity?" And he said, "Absolutely. When I give somebody my word and say I do what I say I'm going to do." Okay, let me ask you, when you went to lunch today, did you think you were going to have a healthy lunch? Yeah, I did. But I got a little busy, and then I went to the drive-thru at McDonald's. Oh, and so do you regularly go to the gym to work out? Oh, yes, I do. And have you ever not gone when you said to yourself you're going to go? Yes, I have. And he said, "You know what? I've even done worse than that. I drove into the parking lot and then didn't even go in." And the whole crowd started laughing. And she had a number of other questions about that integrity with him as well. But the point is, she was showing that he thought he had so much integrity, but he really didn't have integrity with himself. He didn't realize the important decisions he makes and needs to keep are with himself, not with others, right? It has to be integrity with self first. You can't have integrity with others if you're not integritous with yourself. It doesn't work. So integrity is a lot like loyalty. You can't demand it of someone else, right? You can't just say, "Give me your loyalty." You can only demand it of yourself. I can't say, "Give me integrity." You either have it or you don't. And the way you have it is have it with yourself, not with other people. And you just have to look at the political landscape right now. And I'm not even just saying United States, around the world. I mean, there's very few politicians that have much integrity anymore. I mean, look at up here in Canada, just recently over Christmas, when everybody was locked down and not supposed to go anywhere. And we had over a dozen MLAs and MPPs, which are members of parliament, take off and go for sunny South or Hawaii or what have you. And they're supposed to be leaders and lead with integrity. I mean, what's up with that, right? And they're elected officials into power. It just makes no sense. So obviously they lack integrity. So why would you want them as a leader anymore? I certainly don't. But that's my opinion. So you need to be the best example of a person with integrity. I mean, let's say if you wanted loyalty, you need to be the best example of being a loyal person, and people will pick up on that and be attracted to you, and you will have loyal followers. And if you have integrity with yourself, people will also see that and be attracted to you, and they will also have integrity, right? Because they see that and they like that in you. So now you have many people in your group, business, whatever that happens to be, that also have integrity. What a wonderful thing that would be, especially if we can get it into the parliaments again and the offices of the United States, especially. Mr. Trump. That's for you. Anyway, integrity is really just another word for discipline, honestly, right? We tell ourselves we don't have the discipline to do certain things, right? Well, I didn't have the discipline to go to the gym. But what if you switch that word to integrity? I didn't have the integrity with myself to go to the gym. Does that make you feel good? Maybe you can throw that discipline word around quite easily. But how about integrity? You didn't have the integrity to eat a healthy lunch. You didn't have the integrity to go to the gym. You didn't have the integrity to tell your wife you were off with the guys one night. You said you were working late. Come on, let's go. Let's have some integrity with ourselves. Let's be honest. We've got the discipline. We've got the willpower. We have so much ahead of us. We can all do this. This can make your 2021 the best year ever, or at least in a long time. You have to have integrity with yourself before you have integrity with others. So I've given you an example of 7 things that will help you improve your life in 2021. And don't forget the success formula: desire, planning, effort, perseverance. I guarantee you it'll work. It's all you need to do. Thank you so much for listening today, and I hope to see you again very, very soon on our next episode of Men on Fire here on Soul Mechanic Radio and Soul Mechanic TV. Bye for now.